Boruto episode 123.
Sensational.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
This episode was absolutely amazing. Possibly, matter of fact, it was the best episode of the Urashiki arc. And of course, that's saying something, man, because the Urashiki arc did definitely bring us a lot of great content. Now, before I spend the rest of the 9 minutes praising and pretty much wanking off the Boruto writers, I do want to voice my slight criticism about this episode. Just one thing, and it was just pretty much the animation, especially in the first half of the episode. I thought that the animation was a little bit amateurish. Now, I do want to make this very clear. I respect the animators. I'm not calling the animators amateur or anything like that, but just the animation in the first half of the episode wasn't necessarily that good. Now, the second half of the episode, it was pretty much up to par. It wasn't necessarily anything too crazy, but still, it was decent in the second half. But the first half, it just wasn't that good. I don't know. Maybe the animators were a little bit tired in the first half of the episode. Now, the biggest problem I have with this arc and probably the whole anime of Boruto is the fact that there pretty much probably be like 2 minutes of fighting, and then there'll be 16 minutes of dialogue. Now, of course, dialogue, character development, all of that stuff, it's amazing. You can't have an anime without those things. But of course, we know majority of the fan base of Boruto, we want to see action. We want to get to the plot. We want to see things blow up. We want to see people get destroyed. And of course, that's exactly what this episode brought us. To be honest, that's probably why this episode is probably my favorite of this whole entire arc, man, because it was just straight action. And of course, in classical Boruto fashion, the main villain Urashiki shows up in the last 2 minutes of the episode. But of course, I didn't necessarily mind that, man, because the rest of the episode was just that good. Now, one thing that I really did notice is the fact that the puppet forced everybody to fight. He forced Shinki to fight, he forced Boruto to fight, Shikadai, and also Temari to fight. And that was insane, not only because we got to see multiple different fighting styles, but also we got to see some very interesting teams. Temari fighting with her son Shikadai was absolutely amazing. And of course, we always love the dynamic between Shikadai and Boruto as well, mainly because they just work so well together. When the Boruto characters were first announced, majority of the fans were kind of wondering how the actual original characters would work with the newer generation characters. We got to see one dynamic right here with Temari working with Shikadai. One of the biggest surprises in my opinion is, of course, Shikadai picking up Temari's fan and pretty much using a jutsu that he didn't even know that Temari had. This right here pretty much is gonna make a lot of people mad, but in my opinion, I'm pretty much gonna accept it, mainly because it's plot. You could just chalk it up to plot. And of course, this right here is very significant, man, because this right here was important to them actually defeating the puppet. Now, of course, as I said, some of the fans out there might not like it, but still, it's plot in my eyes. I just thought it was very interesting, and of course, very impressive for Shikadai to actually use the fan. Now, one thing that I thought was very surprising was the fact that this puppet actually gave everybody a challenge. Not only did it give Shinki a challenge, and of course, you guys know how much we respect and love Shinki, but it also gave 3 other characters plus a Jonin a challenge. Now, in my opinion, I thought that these puppets were going to be a little bit fodder, and of course, the other puppets that Conqueror did take down, they were fodder as well. But seeing that this puppet was weakened, also fought multiple characters, also destroyed before he even approached Conqueror, and he still gave all these characters a fight, that right there was pretty surprising to me. Now, one of the biggest problems that I did have with this puppet was the fact that the puppet's poison was not lethal. This right here is probably added in because of the plot. They didn't necessarily want the puppet to be killing everybody, man, because the puppet was just that good, and for the puppet to be that good, they probably had to tone down the poisoning. So I kind of understand, but listen, the optics are just terrible. Like, let's be honest, when we talk about the original characters, when we talk about Sasori of the Red Sand, his poison was so lethal that no one in the Hidden Sand Village knew how to find the antidote. And of course, Sakura had to come in, a pupil of Tsunade, by the way, and find the antidote herself. But still, an Otsutsuki puppet does not have a lethal poisoning. And also, honestly, matter of fact, we don't even necessarily have to look at a character like Sasori of the Red Sand to be the base mark. If we look at Conqueror in part 1 in the Chunin exam, he had lethal poisoning. Of course, the poison that he had probably could have been fixed with basic antidote, but still, that poisoning was lethal. You cannot tell me an Otsutsuki puppet cannot obtain a lethal dose of poisoning, but as I said, plot-wise, I kind of understand. Now, the downfall of this puppet was super satisfying. To be honest, I personally think that this puppet is probably going to put itself back together at some point like it did earlier on, and probably go after everybody else, possibly even finish Temari and Shikadai. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but still, that's definitely a possibility. But still, the downfall of this puppet was super satisfying. Not only did it show Shikadai and Boruto working together, mainly because Temari is pretty much out of commission because of the non-lethal poisoning, of course, something that I don't like, but still, because of that, it pretty much gave Shikadai and Boruto an opportunity to finish off the puppet. And one of the things that I've pretty much been noticing from Boruto is the fact that he charges up his Rasengan like the Kamehameha. Now, of course, some of you guys might not know what the Kamehameha is. It's pretty much the go-to move of the main character in Dragon Ball Z, Goku. And it's funny because this isn't the first time we've noticed this. Like in episode 65, we seen this for the first time where Boruto is pretty much charging up his Rasengan like this. And everybody that I know who actually watches Dragon Ball Z could probably tell, like, yo, this looks a lot like the Kamehameha. Now, of course, Boruto did it again in this episode, and just absolutely hilarious. I think that the animators are trolling us a little bit, mainly because they understand that a lot of the Naruto fans out there are also Dragon Ball Z fans, and because of that, that's probably going to be something a lot of the fans are going to recognize. I definitely don't have a problem with it. I actually love it, but of course, we do have to talk about how powerful Boruto's Rasengan is. The Rasengan overall is an elite level jutsu. Boruto probably used it a million times already, but every time he uses it, to me, I have to marvel at the fact that Boruto at this age pretty much has it down pat. And of course, at this point, Naruto didn't really have that down pat. I do want to point out something very significant that Shikaku said in this episode. And of course, this is an argument that I've had with multiple other people before in the past, including my good friend Eternal Hokage. But Shikaku pretty much said, like, hey, Boruto is better than Naruto. He didn't necessarily say that flat out. Now, I do want to be specific, man, because I know that a lot of the Naruto fans out there are probably going to start clocking me because of this. But still, Shikaku specifically said that Boruto is more skilled and he's also smarter than Naruto. Now, he pretty much echoed exactly what I've been saying for a very long time. But this doesn't necessarily mean, I have to point this out, that Boruto is better than Naruto. This just gives a lot more evidence to the people who pretty much say that Boruto is actually better than Naruto. And this is very significant, man, because one of the biggest feats that a lot of the Naruto stands out there have of when Naruto was a Genin was the fact that he beat Shikaku. And not only did he beat Shikaku, but he also beat Gaara as well. I personally always combat that by saying that, hey, Naruto didn't beat Shikaku and Gaara. Gamabunta beat Shikaku and Gaara, and Naruto was just riding on Gamabunta's back. But still, nevertheless, Naruto did come out on top, and of course, that is a very valid argument for a lot of the Naruto stands out there. But still, here you have the actual person who fought against Naruto and Gamabunta saying that Boruto is smarter and more skilled than Naruto. And I feel like this right here is very significant in the whole Naruto versus Boruto debate. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. But going forward with the rest of the episode review, I know I got sidetracked a little bit. One of the biggest things that we did see at the end of the episode is, of course, Urashiki completely decimating Temari and Shikadai, and not only that, him also going after Boruto and Shinki as well. One of the vibes that I did get from Urashiki, which could possibly be a weakness for him, is the fact that Urashiki wants to have fun. Urashiki is not like Momoshiki or Kinshiki, where Momoshiki and Kinshiki, they were all about business. Urashiki is a very unique type of Otsutsuki member where he wants to have fun. He likes to play around. He's not like the regular villains. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely love the character of Urashiki. So because Urashiki is going to be playing around, this could possibly provide an opening for Boruto and Shinki to possibly escape. Now, I did echo this when I read about the spoilers, and of course, if you guys didn't watch the episode or the video when I did talk about the spoilers, I highly recommend that you guys do. But still, I really think that Boruto and Shinki have no business. They shouldn't be able to do anything with Urashiki. If they do the slightest amount of damage, I'm gonna be pissed. This is an Otsutsuki member versus Genin. There should be no conversation. There should be no debate. The only thing that I think that they could possibly do is burrow a tunnel underground and probably try to escape Urashiki. But still, because Urashiki is going to be coming into this in a playful manner, because Urashiki wants to quote unquote have fun, he's probably going to provide an opening for Boruto and Shinki to possibly get away scot-free and then deliver Shikaku to the Hidden Leaf Village. Now, Urashiki did voice his concern about Shikaku possibly making it to the Hidden Leaf Village. Now, one of the things that I do want to touch on very slightly, and of course I do want to touch on it slightly, man, because I do want to make a separate video about this, is the fact that Urashiki in the past said that he wants to pursue Boruto. In this particular arc, he's not pursuing Boruto. That's not the goal. Now, I see that that's not the goal, man, because he has Boruto in plain sight. If he was just putting up a front and saying like, hey, I just want to tell Beast and then going after Boruto, we'd pretty much see it in clear sight. But that's not the situation. It's going to be very interesting if Urashiki does actually try to kill Boruto in the next episode. I think it's definitely 1000% possible, but it is a little bit confusing, man, because as I spoke about earlier, Urashiki is pretty much being extremely playful. He didn't necessarily talk about how he wanted to eliminate Boruto in the last episode, or the episode before that, or the episode when this whole thing first started. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. As I said, there's a bunch of stuff that I did find very enjoyable about this episode. The puppet fight against a lot of the characters that we did see. Of course, Temari and Shikadai working together, and of course, Shikadai and Boruto's dynamic. And not only that, Shinki and Boruto pretty much still bickering and still arguing like little kids. But still, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. It's been your boy Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm at your sexual, no high cholesterol. Where's Jenny Craig? Bitch, just get sexual.